And we can move then. We will swap superintendents and turn the time back to Superintendent Dixon for our superintendent's report.
Thank you, Chair Moss. Good to be with you, board members and community, the multi-thousands watching online, I'm sure. I love that segue of being able to attend USDB graduation. It just phenomenal experience to see one of our board members signing, giving a speech that people in the audience and the students could understand. It's a great opportunity, and I'll talk a little bit more about it as well. All right, I think Ryan is driving, right? All right, we'll start with Employee of the Month. I don't know if Kathleen's here. Oh, there she is, yay! All right, because are we ahead of schedule? Are we on schedule?
We are, but we don't talk about it.
I know, we don't want to jinx it.
No.
Come on up, Kathleen, sorry. Have a seat right there. So I'm really excited to introduce you to our Employee of the Month, Kathleen Mag, who works in child nutrition programs. I have been doing these Employee of the Month reports for a long time, and I don't know that I've ever seen one like this. So I'm really excited to share Kathleen with you. She's amazing. We had a chance to celebrate her earlier with those who supervise her and get to spend time with her and love her. And this is typical of what happens when school hears that the state office is coming to monitor or to audit or to give help. Imagine how you feel when you're in a school and you hear, oh, the state board is coming. You know, somebody's coming to monitor. And so Kathleen, in her wisdom and her good humor, turned that around and created a training for our LEAs called The State Agency is Coming. Is that great? And so this is a presentation that she did to provide to the cook level staff. So when we go into, we're not the health department, but it can feel like that when we go in to monitor, are you serving the right things? Are you following the procedures? And so kind of preempting that to say, hey, we're coming in and here's what it could look like and feel like and adding some humor to it, but making sure that they understand what we'll be looking for and the rules and regs are. It was so well received, like this just became a big hit for people to get this kind of training before we come in to monitor. So I think one of the comments from the LEAs that I loved is she just nailed it and really took away a lot of the angst that we were having about them coming in. And so setting that standard for us in the agency to really help people before we come in to kind of understand what will it look like, sound like, feel like, be like. So Kathleen is the lead specialist over administrative reviews, and not only did she train all of the, create this training for the cooks, but she trained all of our new CMP specialists so that when they go out in the field, they understand what it's going to be like and feel like and help them not only be really knowledgeable, but help us shine, right? Director Kathleen Britton. So really putting CMP on the map as one who really prepares them to come out. She's always willing to help new directors understand the process of the monitoring and let people know that we're there to succeed. And she's willing to help. And when there's a shortage of staff or something's happening, Kathleen's the first to jump in and say, let me help you with that. So just really a shining example of going the extra mile to say, it's not just about doing my job to come in, but I want you to understand how we're here to help you. So that when you hear, oh, the state office is coming to help you, that we mean it. So congratulations to Kathleen Mag. I just want you all to. And I think I mispronounced your name. It's Mog, isn't it? Yeah, I was using that short A sound. Please forgive me, Sarah Wiebke and Kathleen especially. So thank you and congratulations, Kathleen. Okay, and I think we'll move to acknowledgement of student art. Is Rachel in the room? Is Rachel online? Oh, there she is. Thank you, Rachel. Rachel College, take it away.
I'm online. I would love to be there.
Okay, Rachel, we can't hear you, so let's see if it's your computer or our room. Try speaking. It's just very low volume.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
One moment, Rachel, we're going to turn the volume up in the boardroom.
Okay.
Rachel, can you try once more, please?
Sure. Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better. Thank you.
Fabulous. I would love to be there with you today. I just caught a contagion of some sort that has made it so that I get to join you though through technology. So today we have a couple of really exciting, fun things to share. The video you will be seeing is from Washington County School District, and you'll see Legacy Elementary's BTS Arts. Fifth graders are performing 4 different rhythm patterns in a 4-beat meter, and they're covering standards of performing and identifying rhythm patterns. Desert Hills High School Chamber Choir, you'll see them sing with appropriate tone over appropriate range and identifying and applying following symbiotic skills, balance, dictation, intonation, and excuse me, correct breathing and singing posture. You'll see Pine View High School Band, and they're demonstrating fluency, and the Washington County School District Art Show. You'll see some pieces there, and then the Desert Hills High School Orchestra. You'll see them becoming familiar with and being able to produce tone and technique. And then finally, the Crimson Cliffs High School Jazz Ensemble. And they're going to, and then, excuse me, as well as the Crimson Cliffs High School Dance. So if we want to show the video, Ryan. And then, thank you for the video. If we're looking around the room, you'll see some art from Megan Hallett, BTS arts educator in the Salt Lake City School District. Those are in the back wall, the animal portraits from Escalante Elementary. At Escalante, they do at least one collaborative unit each year in each grade level. so that students understand and experience contemporary art making practice that allows for big community-wide art making and enjoyment. You'll also see work from Cassie Walker's classroom in Canyon School District, Lone Peak BTS arts educator. You'll see animal drawings. They're Sophie Green inspired animal drawings. And the 5th grade students chose an animal to research and then write about. And part of their research, they learned how artist Sophie Green used their paintings to educate and promote conservation through realistic paintings of endangered animals. Then you'll see Chinese watercolor and calligraphy. And this was a collaborative lesson with a Chinese language dual immersion teacher, where students were taught the traditional art of Chinese watercolor. And they were able to understand and explore visual art strands and their world language core. And then you'll see Fabiana Rodriguez inspired monoprint. The 5th grade were reading biographies of people who brought about positive change, and they were able to learn how artists use artwork to promote positive change, and they were able to then explore the art of printmaking. And then in you'll see Jayotaku from fish print and observational fish drawing. And when studying the essential question, how does technology affect your life? ELA students wrote expository texts about how technology affected the lives of those in the stories they read. And they were asked to reflect on how the camera affected their life and how would they share an experience or memory if they didn't have access to one. And that is all of the wonderful art I have for you today.
Thank you, Rachel. Appreciate you being online when you're not feeling well. And that, I think that's the first remote work we've had in introducing the art, and you did it very well. So thank you and get better. We really appreciate you. I want to draw the board's attention also that we replaced some of the collection out in the hallway with the art that you saw last week. And it's been so fun to have people come in the building and ask about it and be able to talk about the pieces, because it was so fresh on my mind of the students talking about how they came up with the art and knowing about it from you hearing from the artists. That's also a special treat to be able to share the perspective of how the art came to be. And I appreciate the board continuing that tradition. It was started probably 8 or 9 years ago by then board member Spencer Stokes, and just so appreciate that you've all been willing to carry on that tradition. I think it just changes how we feel when we walk in the building. So we'll be taking the pieces that we took down and placing them in the admin suite and some other places in hallways in the building. All right, from that, we'll move to introducing you to our amazing new employees, Michelle Watts.
Thank you. Michelle Watts, HR Field Office Director for USBE, and these are the new hires from April and May.
And thanks for your patience. This new system that we have just takes a little bit to connect.
Thank you. Elizabeth Payne, Special Education Licensing Specialist from Sandy, Utah. She previously worked at Salt Lake City School District as an inclusion facilitator for students with severe disabilities. Jeff Green, Web Content Editor from Vernal, Utah. Previously worked at Uinta School District and is as an IT technician. John Pohl, Software Engineer from South Weber, Utah. Previously worked at Roland Hall as a computer science teacher. Young Lee, IT Systems Administrator from West Jordan, Utah. Previously worked at UFirst Credit Union as an IT Systems Analyst. Oh-Him Kim, Financial Analyst 2 from South Korea, previously worked at A-Core Concrete Specialist as a senior accountant. Annette Cottle, Financial Manager 1 from Clarkson, Utah, previously worked at Utah State University as a business manager. Melissa Harrington, Travel Specialist from Salt Lake City, previously worked at the Department of Health and Human Services as a financial analyst. We welcome our new employees. We're excited to have them here. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. We hire the best people. I'm just so excited about our new employees. If you will indulge me, I am going to take a little bit longer on my remarks today because I just have so much to celebrate. And the end of this school year is a lot about celebrations, and I love to be a part of that. First of all, I want to introduce you to somebody who, when we think about our school years, we think about people that were mentors to us. As students, we had teachers who mentored us. As those of you who were teachers probably had other teachers and principals who mentored you. And as an educator of 42 years, I've had a lot of mentors along the way, but I want to talk to you about somebody that came to my office recently. Former Weber Superintendent Jeff Stevens brought his father by to meet me and greet me. Ron Stevens was a superintendent in Murray School District. I was a teacher, and I had just earned my master's degree in school counseling. And at the time, Jordan did away with all of their elementary school counselors and put them into the secondary system and decided to have school psychologists at the elementary level, primarily for testing for special education services. And so the counseling jobs went away in my district, and in order to get a counseling job, I had to leave Jordan. There just weren't any openings. So the way I ended up here is a long story, and I feel like it was very much divine intervention. But I came to Murray. I was hired just almost over the phone, making a call to see if they had any counseling openings. And they had a female counselor, Phoebe Ennis, who had been there for 45 years. And her office was this little box, and she had posters on the wall that had been there for probably 40 years. So when I moved in and took the posters down, everything just kind of peeled off. And I'll never forget, Superintendent Stevens was so gracious and hired me, but he came to see me on my second day of work, and he said, "What can I do for you to help you do your best work?" Now, you all have heard me use that line. I got that way back in the 80s from Superintendent Stevens, who came to my office and asked me that. And I am very spatially aware, and environment is important to me in order to do my best work. So I said to him, "Would you mind having someone paint my office?" And mind you, again, it's like this little box of an office, but it just was full of holes and missing paint. And he said, "I would be happy to." Within 2 days, my office was painted. And I've never forgotten that kind of servant leadership. And I watched him do that with every employee who came to Murray. He would greet them and ask him how he personally could help them. And he has spent his life doing that kind of work. At one point, he was approached to serve an LDS mission with his wife, and was given the opportunity to go to a lot of, what might seem like some really exciting places. It was an opportunity to go work in an education service in the South Pacific. And so they would be stationed in New Zealand. And another opportunity came up to work in the criminal justice system with juveniles. And he chose staying in Utah and working in the criminal justice system because he felt like that's where he could better serve. So I just want to honor an early mentor of mine, Ron Stevens, who took the time to say, "What can I do to help you do your best work?" And something that I've tried to emulate and take to heart, although I don't know that I'm as responsive as he was in that moment. But I love that he came to visit me a couple of weeks ago so I could thank him personally and reflect on the important role that mentors play in our lives. And all of us have had educators who have played in that role. So I want to start today's comments by introducing you to one of my mentors. And knowing that as students are leaving our systems and moving on to different grade levels, they're thinking about how these teachers have made a difference. So last month, we did not get time to go through the stock take that we engaged in, meaning that we take stock of how we're doing in accordance to the strategic plan. And I wanted to focus on Goal 2 today with effective educators and leaders by introducing you to Superintendent Stevens and going on from there. I want you to notice the verbs. What you see here, again, remember we have the 4 goals, we have goal leaders, and then we have strategies that staff work on that you approve to carry out. By you, I mean the board, and this was a previous board, but to carry out the work of the strategic plan. So notice the verbs: support, assist, evaluate, lead, promote, and increase. These aren't just nice thoughts, they're very actionable. And then when we look at the topics, they're around effective mentoring, continuous personalized professional learning for our educators, improving our educator preparation programs, and leading change in the perception of teaching as a profession. That was one that I know Board Member Earl had us add that was very important. Making sure that every student has a highly effective teacher, and then understanding the important role that school leaders play in the way that we provide education to our students. So those are the strategies that we've been working on, and I want to highlight a few things. Under 2A, in providing mentoring, we have long had mentors. They've been required forever in code, and yet we haven't had funding to provide for mentors. That's been left to the locals, and we haven't really ever done a robust job of providing training for mentors. We've dabbled in it. We've been in and out trying to figure out our role as a state board, but we've very intentionally hunkered down on helping mentors know what their role is. It's very different than just tapping the person next door and saying, Carol, would you go mentor Sarah? She's new in the school. Even though you don't teach in the same content, just go help her out, will you? And that unfortunately is sometimes how it happens. So we've been really working on mentoring, and the Mentoring Advancement Pilot Project, or MAP, we're in phase 3 with that, and we've created these professional learning modules so that they can be done at any time. So rather than going out face to face, others can add to them and embed them in what they're doing locally. So Granite took these 10 modules and put them right on Canvas with their existing mentor academies. And I know that Cache County and Early Light Academy, Provo School District, Salt Lake City District, they have also uploaded into their own Canvas accounts and added some additional things. So in May of 2022, we also released a teacher mentor licensing endorsement. People have asked us for that from the field for a number of years, and we finally made that happen, and we've had such positive feedback about that for mentors to feel like I've been trained, I'm working in this, and I actually am certified now I have this endorsement to be a mentor, and that should really mean something. So it's really been well received, and we've had quite a few applications. I think by the end of the year, I don't have an update, but I think we have over 40 so far for the first cohort, which is great. All right, Ryan, if you'll move to the next. So the next strategy is, again, thinking about continuous personalized professional learning for educators and leaders. And we have known about what quality or effective professional learning looks like for a long time, but we don't always do what we know. I think in this space we've had a knowing-doing gap, because sometimes we have a day and it's just easy to pull everybody together instead of saying, what do you need to do your best work? How can I help you? What kind of support do you need? And we've really tried to help move into this space by helping people know what quality looks like. I want to give Katie Dewey-Hill some credit for really focusing on this and her role and bringing this to our attention and keeping this going. So across the state, more than 750 educators have obtained an instructional coaching license. And this is something, the more we put coaching out into the field, again, people have said, what does that look like? How can we be acknowledged and recognized as an instructional coach? They've been around forever. We kind of dabble in professional learning, but now we have a process by which it's more of a standardized way to say, here are the fundamentals of being an effective instructional coach, and you can receive an endorsement. Excuse me. All right, we'll just move on. I'll try to go through some of these a little quicker. 2C is, excuse me, evaluating and supporting educator preparation programs. Now, you have all been talking about this as a board for years, and how do we continue to improve preparation programs while making sure that there's room to innovate? Not all should look the same, but how are they especially teaching the science of reading? That's something that has come on. But also, what can we do to support flexibility in LEAs? And this board, along with the prior board, really supported our Apple program. And I think this data speaks volumes. This is something you came up with as a board to say, how can we provide an alternate path so that people don't have to go back and completely get another bachelor's degree to be a teacher? So think about this. Last school year, there were over 1,400 educators who were enrolled in the program, which makes it the third largest preparation program in the state. We have amazing staff who work in this space. So to date, we've had 379 educators who have been recommended for a professional license. Is Leah in the room? Okay, she gave me a, oh, there she is. I say her name and she appears. So you, Leah, thank you. So yesterday, Leah shared a statistic with me, and Leah, if you can just shout this out, because I know I'm going to get it wrong. How many special educators, or how many educators seeking their special education license are in the pool now through Apple?
217 are in the program. 145 have applied. 1 has graduated, and 5 will graduate in the next week.
So think about that pool, right? When it's one of our most highly needed spaces. So for those of you who have been champions of this program, thank you. You can see that not only has it taken off, but it's taken root, and we now have a way to professionally prepare teachers outside of what we think of as real traditional programs, and they've been very innovative. So very proud of that strategy. I think we're meeting the goal of the board. In 2F, I'm going to jump to 2F. I think that's slide 8, Ryan. One of the things that I got the right one. Yes, okay. One of the things that we have done that I think is so unique, and we're actually getting some notoriety for, is to support supervisors of principals. They are a group who doesn't really have what I would call core connections across the state. They're often somebody who's been they're usually somebody who's been a principal, and they just say, all right, we now want you to supervise principals. And they are tasked with evaluating principals, crisis management, providing them with leadership tools, and I just don't know that they're always prepared for that role. And so we've had them from time to time say, we would like a cohort, we'd like to come together. And goodness, allergies today. Assistant Superintendent Darren Nilsson, has done a phenomenal job of leading our leadership work here in the agency. And I think this Supervisor Academy is so unique and so needed, and we've had fabulous feedback. It was, a bit of a slow start of people wondering, gosh, what is it you're asking me to do? But we had 69 supervisors registered to attend from 22 districts and 9 charters. And they've been in these these monthly cohort sessions, and Darren really should be explaining all of this to you. So tap Darren if you want to know more, because it has been highly successful. We've had partnership from WestEd and the Utah Education Policy Center in this space with us. So we haven't been doing this solo, but we've been getting amazing feedback about this, and we see this as something that we can continue. We've also had some professional principal networks to offer some small group gatherings for principals so that they can collaborate with their peers. I can tell you, having been a principal, it feels like a very isolated job. I don't know for board members in this room who have been principals, but I would assume by the nodding of your heads that Board Member Hymas and Board Member Hart and others, Board Member Davis, nodding, that role of being a principal feels like one of isolation at times. So having a peer group to be able to meet with and learn from has been very valuable. So that's my report on Goal 2, effective teachers and leaders. And you can see that we have these very active strategies that we're working on. And I'm very proud of our staff and the work that we've been doing to accomplish the goal. In terms of effective teachers and leaders, we really want to celebrate the hard work that is happening out in our field as well. And sometimes we don't take the time to recognize our teachers for the hard work that they do in some non-traditional ways. It's easy to have Teacher of the Year. We all love that. It's awesome. We try to recognize teachers in very formal ways, but I'm super proud of Dr. Thronson and her staff for coming up with a new way to recognize our teachers. When we put forward the reading professional learning for the science of reading, and teachers found out that they were going to spend over 100 hours in professional learning. You heard from some of them, and maybe you continue to hear from them. And they felt overwhelmed. But once they get through that first unit, suddenly they say, I feel transformed in the way that I teach reading. I didn't realize I was missing some of these elements, and they can see success in their students. So Dr. Thronson and her team developed a rubric to determine the levels of implementation. So it's one thing to go through training, get coaching. I mean, this is a really robust model. But then how do we know that it's working and taking root in the classroom? So they developed this rubric that district and charter leaders can use and to help see the success rate of the learning taking place. So those educators scoring 90% or higher were recognized with the Science of Reading Award. And the recipients of this award are really key to us reaching our goal of 70% of third grade students reading on grade level. So they went out and held assemblies and recognized teachers, and it was really amazing. And again, I wish the people that were involved could be up here telling you these stories, because it's something that has meant so much to these teachers, and they're now models for others to follow. And I wanted you to see the list of recipients because some of those are in your districts that you serve, so you see those there. We also recognize district leaders, principals leading reading in their school, and Valley View stands out in Davis District. So those of you that are over, I don't know if that's you, Board Member Wood, that you might want to stop by and see what they're doing, because it's quite amazing. And then also recognizing reading coaches. So shout out to all of our teachers who are involved in the science of reading, professional learning, and especially those who are really achieving high rates of success. I want to take a minute to celebrate our employees. Yesterday, we had our service awards luncheon, and this is to recognize our employees in increments of 5 years, those that have been with us 5 years, 10, 20, and we go all the way up to 35. So we had a wonderful luncheon and a lot of fun, and we tell a little bit about each person and what they do in the agency, and the fact that we have people stay with us for 35. I think last year we honored somebody who had been with us over 40 years, and it's quite amazing, and it's a way to honor their loyalty to students. I mean, they're very mission-driven and show up every day for students. So it was a great time, and I just want to thank all of our employees, and especially those who were recognized yesterday. And I'll just ask, can you see, I don't know if you can see, there might be something unique in the group photo. Anybody pick it out? Anyone?
You're there twice?
Yes, ma'am. Very observant. I know, it's a trick. You have to figure out what's the beginning or the end, right?
It makes you doubt the whole picture.
Yeah, I know, right? It is a fake picture. No, I knew how to crouch and run. So at the end of the year, as I mentioned, I just love all the celebrations of learning that take place, the music, the art, and thinking back on the whole year of the amazing learning that takes place in our classrooms every day. I was especially touched to go to the USDB graduation. I don't think this was mentioned, maybe it was, but the one thing that I really loved about it was that every student who graduates, I think there were 10, they get to give a speech. So when you go to other graduations and you have hundreds of kids graduating, you might hear one or two speeches, but every student who graduated got to give a talk. And I was so touched by that. And each of the students called out teachers or educators, adults in the system who had made a difference for them. And they thanked them personally and thanked them for what they had done. Now, it started out for me crying through the Star Spangled Banner. You had students signing the Star Spangled Banner, and I hope that somebody will bring them here to do that at one of our board meetings, because there was singing in the background, but to watch these students sign and the animation, they were acting out every important word in that song, and it was so powerful and so patriotic. I don't know that I've ever felt more felt patriotism more deeply than watching these young people sign the Star Spangled Banner. So just putting that thought in somebody's head, somebody who might be coming up next fall, and having maybe some students come and sign that for us. It was very special. And last but not least, I just want to thank all of the students, the teachers, the staff, administrators, and I should have parents on there, who made 2022-23 another memorable school year. We're not without our trials or struggles, but I believe we have the best educators around, and everybody working together makes it happen. And I just, on behalf of all of you and our staff, want to thank everybody in the system for another great year. So let's give everybody a shout out through our applause. And that was an exceptionally long report for me, sir, and I appreciate everybody hanging in there with me. I wanted to make sure you heard all of those things. So I'll turn the time back to you, Chair Moss.
Thank you. And it's the best part of our meetings are the celebrations, right? So the more of that, the better. And I echo everything that was said about all these awesome teachers and leaders, and I'll share my personal involvement in that later in the chair's report. But yeah, it's a great month, so thank you for all that. Are you?
I think Brent.
Member Straight, sorry.
May I have a personal privilege?
You betcha.
Okay, so this is more for me than for Sarah, but I so appreciate Sarah and her service on the board, and I did not take the opportunity to give her applause and the respect that that I feel she needed, and so if you want to join with me, this is for Sarah.
All right, thank you.